We are living in one of the worst times in terms of confidence this generation has ever experienced, right? I'm sure you've encountered this. The amount of people that will tell you that they are not able to get into a relationship, get money, get this, get that, and they're all doused hopelessness. It just gives you the craziest ick. And it's not like you're a shorty, but it gives you such a weird feeling inside. It's like, what is the end of reality? Because you really truly ask yourself this. And it's like, what other reality is worse than this? Because there's nothing much you could really steep down to. Homelessness is a situation, people just, losing members of their family, on how unfortunate it is. You putting yourself under the depths of hopelessness, under the idea that you cannot be and who you cannot become, is the ultimate self-sacrificial, thought idea in terms of, being in there, in terms of having a philosophy about life. You putting yourself in the worst position on the chessboard by just surrendering, it's gonna destroy you, bro. And this is what people do in every single game of their life. They'll say in their relationships, it's my fault, it's because I'm a loser, this and that. They'll say, in their workplace, I cannot get more money. This is the job that I'm limited to. They put caps on their abilities. They put their limitations under threshold. It's like, why? Why do you decide in your only life, your only chance, this is your only shot, this is it, you decide to put yourself under a limitation for God's sakes, for God knows what. And to some degree I respect it because it's in their commitment. You have to really endorse their commitment. They've never committed to an idea so heavily. And by they, I'm speaking to the individual that puts limits to themselves, whatnot, whatever. They've never put any sort of limitation or anything or any sort of gap on their ability until now, and they've committed fully into that. They've committed fully into saying that this is their weakness, and to that I have to condemn, or to give them my appreciation, and I can't condemn, right? These people will really believe they're nothing in life, and at some point it's like, if you don't believe that you're anything in life, then I have to condemn you and make sure you are a public radical on the internet. Because what are kids going to believe nowadays? What are your kids going to believe? If you ever do have them, what are kids around you going to believe? Right? That I can't do anything because this guy hasn't. You are a direct, and I mean a direct, influence on your community. People like to take away that they have no responsibility or accountability because they don't have a family. Absolutely not. The people around you, the people that you grew by, whatever, they look at you for inspiration. They look at you and they say, oh, well, if this guy's not doing this, why would I? Right? And some of the time, you're probably the best example they ever have. Let's digress. Let's go into fitness and success, because those are the two biggest parts of quality of life, right? If you have a little bit of bread in your pocket, you could go out and do whatever you want with it. Big indicator of quality of life. If you have fitness, people treat you better. There are better responses you get out of life, right? That's the second leading better quality of life. And so let's just start with the second, fitness. Now, a lot of people will disregard me and what I say when it comes to fitness, is because I probably have achieved my dream physique somewhere along the lines. I've been training for like 4 years in bodybuilding, 3 years in bodybuilding, but the rest of the time I was an athlete. I was a basketball player, whatever, whatnot. So a lot of people will look at me and be like, you have no right to talk about this. You've been training all your life. The thing is, you don't have to experience a change in order to speak on subjects. And I want that to sink in, right? Because a lot of people will live under the idea that they're broke their whole lives. And so they bounce job to job. They do side job to side job, odd job to odd job. And then they themselves haven't experienced any change in their life. However, they think that they're hustling. They think that they're grinding. when in reality it's the complete opposite. Life is a results-based game, but also an identity-based game. So going back to fitness, once you achieve a certain level of muscle mass and leanness, there's this, it's not an eye opener for sure, but you kind of wake up in the morning of that day, kind of days. You wake up and you look at the mirror and you're like, who is this? Right? And then you go about life thinking, who is this? It's kind of like that Spider-Man transformation scene, if you guys ever seen it. It's like Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker, like back in the day. He wakes up and he realizes he's been bit, but he doesn't realize he's been bit. He's realized that his physique has changed, right? So the first thing with your money, right? Finances, whatever. You have to realize change before you ever get into money, because money is a difficult thing to handle. So much people, they suggest themselves as broke because they've never came from like a rich background. By the way, if you work a job for 300K a year, I'd argue that you're still broke, because your lifestyle still goes up. Lifestyle factors still go up. And, if you want to live in a big house and have a nice car like everybody else, you're going to have lifestyle factors that go up. And by the way, you're just going to empty your wallet, empty your account. And so what I believe as a finance thing is always increasing your income. If you always increase your income, just like you always get muscle mass, just like you always get lean, get shredded, you better your quality of life, and you could invest freely and have fun freely because your income is going up. And so these things involve an identity transformation. If you do not involve yourself or put yourself in a place where you could have that identity, then what you're going to do is crumble under the expectation. And this is how you get people that are on their 5th grade gap year and doing nothing, right? This is how you get people that are, after college, they're kind of lost. This is how you get people that don't have any hobbies to represent themselves. This is how you get people, stuck under financial burdens or debt, and also not willing or wanting to go to the gym. There's a lot we can talk about here, a lot of subject matter, but a lot of you guys have to understand it's all about your identity. You fix your identity, you fix it. And this is what I'm trying to aim for with this channel and with the blueprint of people that are coming in here. All you incels or people that hate yourselves or degrade yourselves because of objective numbers. I can make a number in my head right now. That number could either support or destroy my identity structure in my mind, my mental model. So are these numbers really representative of you? And if they are, how much would you really sacrifice for these numbers? Right? I think that's a really good question to ask, because how much would you sacrifice for the objectivity of things? And if you're a logical person like myself, a lot of the world might fall under objectivity. That doesn't mean you put yourself in that box as well. So I hope you guys change the identity around things. This little app session, it doesn't have to be something that you guys look under and look to and say, this guy's a bum, this guy's this guy's that. The message is not coherent to what I'm saying. Once you change the identity of things, once you change your identity, your actions follow, your results follow, things follow. I recently picked up a piano. I think I'm a pianist. It's been 5 days. Yeah, I'm not that good. Yeah, I can only play the beginning of Interstellar. Fine. Right? But you have to build the skills. Once you build the skills, get the confidence. Once you get the confidence, you become everything. The identity is what matters, though. Appreciate this little yap session. If you guys are interested in this type of content, let me know. Hit the comment section down below. I will definitely make higher quality content on the road, but I've only made TikToks and Instagram so far. So let me know. Appreciate y'all.